Good evening. We call the Hawarden, Iowa City Council to order on Wednesday, April 26, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. All present are staff and council other than Finance Director Jacob Stoner, who will be back to work, I believe, tomorrow. Number of areas if you wish to address the council. If you're not part of the agenda, you can address the council on open business from the community. Number 1C, we also have a public hearing on item number 6 and a public hearing on number 8. So to start out, we start out with the standard agenda item number 1A, approval of the April 12th, 2023 regular city council meeting minutes. Is there a motion for that approval?
So moved.
Moved by Rob. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by John. Any questions, clarifications? All in favor then of the approval of the April 12th, 2023 regular city council meeting minutes, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Next is approval of claims for payment. I'll start to my right with Monty for questions. Travis?
None, thank you.
John?
None, thank you.
Patty?
I have none.
Rob, any questions?
No questions.
Is there a motion for claims for payment?
I make a motion.
There's been a motion by Patty. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by John. All in favor then of the claims for payment for today, April 26, 2023, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Next is open business from the community. Seeing none, we'll move to the mayor's report. As you may know, and as Travis will talk some more, citywide cleanup is coming shortly. Please take advantage of this opportunity to clean up your home and the surrounding area. Please quit misusing the tree pile for items other than trees and brush. Tomorrow is the groundbreaking at the Hawarden Regional Health Care at 12:30. This again will be another great project enhancement for the hospital and our community. We'll move on to staff reports. Start with Travis, please.
Reminder, citywide cleanup set for May 5, 6, and 7 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the household hazardous material drop-off will be May 5th from 1 to 4 at the City Street Shop, which is 717 7th Street. Avenue L project has a new tentative start date of May 8th, which will be here before we know it. Pre-construction meeting has been set for May 3rd, and Holstein Excavating plans to start work on the section north of 16th Street. And then they'll do much of the work, but not the paving, before they move down to the south section. So, but watch our website, text alerts for updates and project notifications, and there'll be more to come as we have our pre-construction meeting.
You're done. Okay, thanks. Wanda.
Just a couple items. We'll have at the next council meeting 2 new ordinances for you, one for the food truck ordinance, and the other one we'll be looking at the internet rates, raising those or realigning those, so that will be on the next agenda. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Jenny, anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, Corey?
Just like you and Travis both hit on, got cleanup days coming up, got the guys out there doing nuisance abatement, getting notices sent out, talking to people, trying to get things moved, and that'll be the ideal time to take those things that have been going to the tree pile, to the appropriate pile. So that's all I got right now.
Good, thank you. Carol?
I'm going to probably share during the future items here, so I'll just hold on.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from council or questions of staff? Hearing none, we'll move to other agenda items, the CAPS program and swimming pool.
Hello. We are Tyler Kennedy, Mason Kopic, and Eliana Venort, and we are three of the members of the CAPS program at West Sioux. And we have been working on a project with Wanda, Carol, and Travis to revamp the public pool. So first off, what is CAPS? So CAPS stands for the Center for Advanced and Professional Studies. Some of our sort of pillars are entrepreneurial mindsets. So basically finding solutions that maybe aren't right in front of you, but ones that you have to go and find, ones that may not appear to you. Finding solutions when the answers are not multiple choice or fill in the blank. So CAPS is very different than any other class or course that you're going to take in school. It teaches you a lot of professional skills, how to dress professionally, how to serve your community professionally, and even just little things like how to like have a proper handshake or where to put a name tag properly. It puts us in professional environments. I mean, I don't see how we could get much more professional than a city council meeting.
Thank you.
And an example of that would be our career exploration. So we set up sort of interviews, with local businesses in professions that we see as we might want to go into in the future. So we get in contact with these businesses and set up interviews or sort of just a meeting so we could talk about it, and then we reflect on would we like to go into that profession more or less, and questions like that. And lastly, CAPS is very useful for helping students prepare for things after school. These interviews give us practice for job interviews. Dressing professionally isn't something that we get to learn in school. Other stuff like that we learn in CAPS, we'll never get to learn in a classroom. So how we got to where we are now. So in CAPS, we do a lot of different things. Design sprints are one of them. And design sprints are basically short-term projects with a limited time span. And we basically try to put together as much information as possible and give it back to our clients, who we only spoke to at the beginning of said design sprint. Another thing that we've done is our DISC personality assessment. In short, it's basically just a personality assessment of how you work with others and just sort of what kind of worker you are. So in CAPS, we learn about our own personalities as well as others to see, how we work on our own and in others, and sort of how we can work more efficiently with others. Lastly, it was mentioned before, but career discovery. We learn more about our professional interests, and we get a good amount of interview experience through those. And then how we got to, standing in front of the city council. So in CAPS, we were giving a list of long-term projects that we could choose from, and this included a bunch of different things. And we chose to work with Carol and Wanda on revamping the Hawarden public pool. We chose it because, as a consensus, we thought that the Hawarden public pool was a pretty big part of our childhoods, and we'd hate to see it, go not be busy, not be as fun as it was for us. So we've been working with Carol and Wanda, as well as Travis a few times, to sort of work through this project and renovate it so that the children of Hawarden can enjoy the pool again.
Here were some of the ideas that we kind of gave them and what we thought would do well for the pool. And the first one was, which we'll go into more detail about all of these, but the first one was the pool layout. We kind of thought that like a little change of scenery would be a little better, and then we also thought about adding a mural to the pool doors that would increase color and appeal to the pool. We noticed that there was no sign, like you can obviously tell it's a pool, but there's no sign indicating that it's a pool, and we just thought if we added that, it'd look more professional and it would look better to people wanting to. And then we wanted to add a slide because we thought adding a slide to the pool would be I feel like all pools should have a slide that, kids or anyone can go down, so we thought that would be a cool thing to attract non-local and also local family members. And then a rock wool is also a popular item that a lot of pools are adding that wouldn't be at a lot of pools. You don't see that at pools every day, that we thought would be a cool idea to do. And also a volleyball net, because people of Hawarden love sports, and volleyball in the pool is a fun activity.
All right, so this is our proposed pool layout. You can see different chairs, the slide, the rock wall, along with previously put in items such as the diving boards and the ramp going into the kiddie pool. On the right of the pool, you can see the splash pad, which was proposed to us as something that will be going into the pool, and that is the design that we have was given to us, so we implemented in our design. The image on the right has some triangles which show sail shades, which would add more shading to the pool, which is a common concern that a lot of people we asked about had. And at the addition of the slide is on the left, but that's not an approximate picture of the slide. That's just an icon for the picture. Okay, and then this is the proposed mural. We believe that a mural on the front of the door will make the pool a lot more inviting and a lot more colorful. The doors currently are just a plain blue color, and we feel like they are a perfect canvas to add a mural. And it's an easy way to add a pop of color to the pool. And it also sets us apart from other pools. So the signage, this is a proposed sign that could go outside of the pool. It would indicate that this is a public pool owned by the city of Hawarden, as well as indicate that it is a pool. Not only that it indicates it's a pool, it'll make the pool more noticeable as you drive by, since it'll be on the side of the street. And we were thinking that it could go on the corner of Central Avenue and 12th Street.
Here's a slide idea that we were hoping to add. We thought this would bring more children to the pool. It'll make the pool look more attractive, and I think we'd attract more kids also to the pool. It's when we pooled people, it was one of the main things that people wanted to see added, and we thought it would be a great addition to add. And here's another one that's a volleyball net that we would be hoping to add. It's, like I said, that Hawarden kind of loves sports, and it already has a basketball hoop, so we thought this would be the perfect thing to add. It gives opportunities to kids that it kind of gives something different for them to do that's not the everyday pool stuff at pools. And it's popular and it's fun, and we thought, well, it's going to be a great thing to add. And you could host volleyball tournaments and whatnot too, and there's a lot of things that go along with that.
So the next idea that we had was a rock wall. So more often we're seeing rock walls pop up more and more at these bigger, more popular pools. And they're getting a whole lot of kids going to them, a whole lot of even adults going to them to see who can conquer the rock wall. And it's a different challenge at the pool than anything else. And children love it, young adults love it, parents love watching it, and it'd just be a great new addition. And then the splash pad. So this idea was given to us by Carol and Wanda. It is a project that a lot of the public would like to see. The younger kids don't really have a whole lot to do at the pool right now. All they have is that small kiddie pool tucked away in the corner. So with the splash pad, that would give them their own sort of little area to go hang out, play with each other, and check out all the cool little knickknacks over there.
All right, so we mentioned the polls before. We conducted a few different polls. This one that you're seeing here is data that we got from our West Sioux middle schoolers. We asked them, what areas of the Hawarden pool do you feel need updating? So we gave them a few options to choose from, as well as a section where they could write in answers. And two of the most voted on ones were more activities, such as slides and diving boards, and better concessions, but that's not really what we're focusing on here. So the more slides and activities, we really wanted to focus on that, so we definitely focused our work on the slide and the rock wall and stuff like that. Our next poll is, what do you wish the pool had for activities? So we knew they wanted activities, so we sent this one out too, and we really narrowed it down. Now, some of the answers on here aren't really possible for our pool, such as the lazy river, but we can see that our slide and the rock wall are still pretty popular items, so we knew that it would go over well with the kids.
Here's are some of the companies that we went through when, researching them and getting different quotes about the different stuff that we went through, and these were all kind of like the main companies for like stuff when you want to get a volleyball net or a slide or splash pad or whatnot, so those are the companies.
Okay, and here is the approximate budget for all of our sort of ideas. So obviously the big one is the splash pad, and that splash pad it'll have a constant flow of water. It'll be recycling, so the water price will not be as high due to splash pad costing a little bit more. And then with everything all added together, it comes out to a little over $470,000. So how will it be funded? So we would look obviously at some grants. There are many grants out there that'll be helping to fund this project. City in kind, so community members, volunteering their time and equipment to help eliminate, some of the labor costs, and then donations. Portion of it would be funded by either like a private donator or anyone like that. And then here are just a couple of those mentioned grant opportunities that we looked into beforehand.
So we'd like to thank you for listening to our presentation today. We'd love to thank Carol, Wanda, and Travis for working on this project with us and allowing us to work with them. We'd also like to thank the West Sioux Caps for allowing us to have this opportunity to be a part of this group. And we are now open for questions.
Well, I'm totally impressed with you guys. Very impressed. First of all, to be able to come up here and speak in such detail and so clearly and show all the research. Not sure that I could have done that in high school. But you really researched this well and thought it out, and the fact that you did those polls from the middle school and trying to come up with a budget figure. I don't think I have any questions because you really laid it out well. You should be proud of yourself. I couldn't have done that in high school.
Thank you.
Wow.
This is 2024 possibly?
A lot of it will depend upon financing, obviously, but this helps us tremendously to get off that, what do we want to do?
Yeah.
So their help has been tremendous for us. It's probably
Right.
moved this project up for us at least, I would say probably 2 years. Carol, wouldn't you say? Yes. And again, it'll depend on how we figure out the financing.
Yep.
They've done a lot of the legwork for us.
Yes, they have. You can tell.
We're hoping to, I guess as far as how the grants are laying out that I've tried to start to apply for and some of them that we are already in the running for, that money would be available probably late this winter, late fall, early winter. That money will start coming around.
Nice job.
Any other questions?
I don't really have any more questions, but
Thank you very much. We appreciate your attendance tonight and your project. We'll move to agenda item number 4, discussion of fire department truck purchase.
Evening, Mayor, Council, and City staff. Appreciate your time hearing us tonight. Behind me are some more of the gentlemen that are on the fire truck committee. I created the document that was in your council packet. So some of our concerns, I'll just kind of highlight some of those paragraphs in there. The ISO rating, we took a little bit of a hit on as far as pump capacity. So, like is in the document, rated pump capacity is determined by 5 to 6 of the largest structures in your city. They determined on the commercial side of things that 3,500 gallons per minute were needed for an active fire. Right now, we're at 3,250 with what we have for apparatus, with one of them being the 1989 Ford. That's the truck in question right now. About 6 years ago, we had some brake issues with that truck, and we learned about the parts availability for that truck at that time. The brakes, you're not able to buy any parts, so we actually had to send them to New York to get refurbished. So that was between $8,000 and $10,000 bill just to redo the brakes on that truck. So what we're doing here tonight is basically to ask for pre-approval and looking for a used apparatus. I know Carol's been working on a grant for us for a new one, but we have a few trucks that have some issues, and if we start taking them out of service, then we're going to have about 2-3 trucks left. Those were highlighted in the packet, and would you guys like a quick rundown of those again?
Yeah, that would be good.
All right, the 89 Ford, which I'm discussing now, it met the department needs when it was first purchased. One of the issues with it was when it was ordered, it was designed and ordered as a very large truck, a 4-wheel drive truck that can go through the fields and do a multitude of different things. At that time, cost was an issue from what I understand, and the turbo was removed from that engine, making it a very small engine and a very large truck. So top speed of that thing is about 52. So she really cooks. The other things that I mentioned on there is the rated pump capacity on that. It's only 750 gallons per minute. It's barely meeting some of the NFPA minimums. Right now, one of the NFPA minimums is your first 2 hose lines coming off a truck have to flow at least 300 gallons per minute. And just with 2 lines, that's taken nearly half of the pump capacity from that truck. So the fire body of it, which would be the back end of the truck, including the pump, very outdated. It doesn't meet the needs of the department anymore. The tank size is too big. It narrows the compartments down, so the newer style air packs and different tools that are being used now are not fitting in those compartments. So our suggestion on that one is to look at a used apparatus. Because of the new apparatus market right now, as pointed out in there, is extremely costly. If you guys remember purchasing the 2009 International, we bought that as a demo unit for $250,000. If we would have ordered that truck, it would have been $325,000. If we order that same truck now, it's $550,000 to $650,000. In fire news this morning, I just read that Boulder, Colorado just signed an agreement for their first all-electric fire truck. For one truck, $1.78 million. So prices are getting super crazy on them. Build time, because there's so many orders right now, is 18 months at minimum. So when we're talking about an urgency of a need, that's one of the urgencies where will it make another year and a half? Quite possibly. We don't run 1,000 calls a year, so that does help. But one of the things that hurts the apparatus is how much they sit there. The department's doing a lot better job in the training aspect, where they're taking different trucks out, running different trucks at more often intervals, and that way it's helping those pumps stay working properly, helping the engines run like they should. The next apparatus on the list was the 2000 International. It's called Engine 4. It's a 1,000 gallon per minute pump with a 1,000 gallon tank. That one does fit our needs, and the fire body is very good yet. So that truck would be a very good candidate for refurbishment. What happens in a refurbishment is we buy a whole different chassis. So that would be cab, drive engine, and the frame underneath, and then put that fire body on the new chassis. And that would be right around 200 to 280,000 if we did the exact same truck we have now. The problem with that one is we're starting to have electrical issues with it. And we're chasing those problems as good as we can, but some of the things we've had to do is we've lost all the dash lights and everything, so we've had to wire a toggle switch underneath the dash to actually turn those lights on at night. So we're making what repairs we can in-house and trying to save some money there. The 2009 International, that's a very good truck yet, meets all our needs. Compartment space is laid out very well for us, so we have no issues with that truck at all. That truck would be an excellent candidate for refurbishment, but we're talking another 20 years down the road before that would actually be a need. The 98 Chevy, that would be the tanker, the water tender truck. That's a 1,000-gallon tanker. All it does is haul water and support fire needs in rural areas where there's no hydrants. That truck is fine. It meets our needs. That's not an immediate threat right now. That truck, when it is due for replacement or if something goes wrong with it, we could low cost that one as well by perhaps getting a chassis off of one of the old plow trucks and just buying a new tank and putting on that. Water tender is just a very bare bones truck that just hauls water. So the 93 Ford, that rescue unit, we're having some underpower issues with that as well. That one was also ordered without a turbo and really underpowered that rig for the amount of weight it carries. It has a 300-gallon tank with a fire pump, and it has a large Onan generator on it, which we use at most of our scenes for scene lighting and different things like that. The rest of that truck carries tools, and just like any industrial place, the tools that we have do a lot of pushing and pulling and are extremely heavy, so it weighs down that truck a lot. That one would also be a candidate for refurbishment if the time came. If it would be one of the old city trucks, the four-door Fords or something driving around, where we remount that if the measurements fit, where that box would fit on there, that could be a low-cost fix. The 97 Chevy brush truck, that would be the red one. That one, that would be the yellow one, the crew cab yellow one. The department bought that with department funds from the city of Yankton. That one fits our needs, and there's no concerns with that one at all. The 2000 GMC, however, that would be the red one, the regular cab pickup. That one, for the last year and a half, has been overheating at nearly every brush fire and stalling. So that motor's getting to a point where we have to make a decision at some point where we're going to replace the motor or replace the pickup. It's been discussed by the department and the truck committee to wait for the state bid process to come out, and that'll come out this fall, to see what a replacement chassis would cost for that vehicle. So tonight we want to address that 89 Ford, that first one I talked about. So the ways we were talking about paying for it is we were approved for an REC loan from Rural Electric. So we didn't apply for that loan to officially be approved, but we have basically gotten pre-approval for it. That'll be up again in June. So we were talking about not taking the full $360,000 from that, because we would have to repay that loan over 10 years, and that would be $36,000 a year to repay. We only have $40,000 a year to put away in our truck fund, so that would not leave much to build our truck fund for another one. So what we elected to do is take $200, ask them for $200 of that money, and that would repayment of $20,000 a year, and then $20,000 can go into our truck fund for refurbishment of engine 4 down the road if the grant doesn't come through. The other $100,000, we would ask to use some of the money that is already in our truck fund, though, because we don't want to deplete it, because there's multiple grants out there for equipment, and this fire truck that Carol has applied for. And so if we get those grants, we have to match a certain portion of that. So we want to keep some money in there to be able to meet those needs as well. So what we're asking for is pre-approval of up to 300,000 so we can actually look for a fire truck. The used market is moving really fast, and by the time we find one and call on it, another department has it on deposit already. So these trucks are going on deposit in under a week from being posted. And so that doesn't give us much time to be able to come here and ask for your approval when the truck is already sold by the time we get here. So I touched on in that about the grant process. Before the questions asked, some of the things that the department is working towards to try to get better to be able to be awarded those fire truck grants is one of the stipulations now, because there's so many people wanting fire trucks because they're $800,000 and up. One of the stipulations they put in there is 100% firefighter one certified. That may be a different term for you guys, because you may think all firefighters should be certified. Well, just like every agency, every place of business, we do have some people that can't take a written test. Not everybody can sit down for an hour and take the written test, and that's usually what they don't pass. We do have a plan that we're going to work toward and try to get that 100% compliance of everybody certified. But right now, the national standard is just being compliant, where they just have to have the training. They don't actually have to have the certification. The other thing is NIFRS data. We're still checking with the state. Chief Schiffen does get the fire reports in a timely manner, and they go into the state system. But we haven't received word yet if they actually get uploaded into the National Fire Database. If that data is not being uploaded by the state, when that grant comes through the desk at FEMA, they'll immediately put it at the bottom of the stack because they're showing 0 fires for your town, because there's nothing in the national database. So those are a couple of things that hurt our chances towards that. It doesn't make it a 0 chance, but it puts other people above us. But if, say, that FEMA grant comes through, so you guys approve up to $300,000 for a used truck to replace the 1989, and that FEMA grant does come through, we would be able to then replace engine 4, because the truck they spec'd is basically the same as that engine 4, the 2000 International, but in a crew cab model instead of a single cab. So we can bring more personnel to the call. So I apologize, I don't have any fancy PowerPoints like the CAPS program did. That was a pretty impressive show there. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Well, thanks for putting that together for us.
Yep.
We got a lot to think about on that end, but
Yeah, I tried to do that little definitions at the front there
Let's see.
and kind of get you guys a little bit of the terminology that's used when we're doing this, so I hope that was helpful.
So oh, sorry, go ahead. Go for it. There's 100,000 in the truck fund to be utilized. That's what I figured. Let's see. I guess I like what you put together. I mean, I don't want our ISO rate to go up for the community either.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that we're working on with that ISO rating. There was some places that we dropped that we probably shouldn't have, and we've requested them to look at the data again. The person that did the ISO report, from what I understand, worked for them for a very short period of time and no longer works for them, and the lady that's helping us is trying to review his notes and figure out what they actually mean. So
That could make a
there are
difference.
some silver lining in there. I know the county is already working on their end to update their system. That should be done by July 1st, I believe is what Nate said. So that'll help us. We're working on implementing some new training programs for first-year firefighters. So we'll have an actual coursework book for them to go through, and then they'll have to complete Fire 1 as well in that first year, and that'll get them to, they need a total of 220 hours the first year of training. So we figured out how to get them that training. We've talked about some community stuff, some different programs based off of grants and things if we can obtain them. But we're working really hard to try to keep our ISO where it's at.
Does the townships ever contribute toward just the truck when you're purchasing a truck?
So, no.
It's a
I mean,
annual payment.
Yep.
I didn't know if,
So the state of Iowa is one of the few states in the country that actually have fire districts. So having the certified fire districts, that means all the townships have to give money to the fire
Yes.
department that serves them. And those are usually just one-time annual payments.
okay.
That REC loan, that's 0% interest, isn't it?
Correct. So basically, we're trying to dig out of a little bit of a hole with how old the trucks have gotten. I mean, we're keeping them as good as we can, but some of them are getting, like the 89's getting to the point that there's not much fixing left.
I'll make a motion to approve up to $300,000 on that loan.
I'll second it.
Been a motion by Travis, seconded by Patty, to approve a pre-approval of a $300,000 loan for fire department purchase of equipment. Any other questions? All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. It passes 4-1. Anything else you wish to bring forth?
Nope, just really appreciate your time tonight. That's basically the first step for us. Now we can actually look for an apparatus that would fit our needs within our budget. So really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate that very much. Agenda item number 5, Resolution 2023-25, proposing to vacate alley and dispose of real property and publish a notice of public hearing at 2411 Avenue D. Could you give an overview of this, please?
So this property the alley is actually in between two parcels that Jim and Judy Abbott currently own. They would like to have the alley vacated by us so that they can combine that into one parcel. In checking with Travis, we do not have any utilities in that alley, so currently it is really a vacant alley.
So moved.
Been a motion by Travis. Is there a second? Yep. Seconded by Monty. This is a motion and a second for Resolution 2023-25, dispose of real estate and publish a public notice hearing. Roll call vote, please, for Resolution 2023-25.
Anderson?
Aye.
Harvey? Yep. Lucky?
Aye.
Feldhecker?
Aye.
Olson?
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2023-25 passes. Move to agenda item number 6. This would be a Resolution 2023-26, proposing to dispose of real property and publish a notice of public hearing for Avenue E, former Sioux Motel property. Give this to Carol.
We've been approached by Skilling Construction, Dave over here. He would like to build an 8-plex, I believe, complex on the property, and in future, maybe build another one. They're pretty excited. We're going to use the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program, hopefully to make that happen. And I can turn it over to Dave. He can explain it a lot better than I can.
Sure. So actually, we would take this property and we would probably do, for sure, 16, maybe up to 24 units that would be available for rent. A mixture of 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom, be 2-story. And I guess when you hear a fire department, a volunteer fire department talk about how they want to improve their services, I can appreciate that as a developer. Obviously, everybody wants to protect their property. So we just think This property here fits very well for some eightplexes. It might be 8, might be 12, but it would be between 16 to 24 units, two-story, like we said. And then parking would all be on our site. There shouldn't have to be any street parking. So we would maintain all that within our boundaries. We would implement a every other month inspection of the apartments to make sure that tenants aren't abusing them. And yeah, we are applying for the workforce tax credit money. You can get up to 20% Iowa tax credit on your investment. Definitely helps work the investment. We've done a project like this in Sioux Center where we've done a mixture of apartments to 8-unit apartments, and then we also have 18 townhomes surrounding the apartments. And there's another piece of property that I was talking to Carol about that we would be interested in doing townhomes there. The application for the workforce tax credit is June 7. It originally was early May, but they pushed that back, so we have a little bit of time. But the workforce tax credit also looks at smaller rural communities where this tax credit really helps benefit the developer as well as the community by getting the apartments in town. So I think, you know, with some of your industry and places that you have employment, the school, the hospital, I think Hawarden would really be an attractive approval for the tax credit. So we're excited about the project. I think we would hear in late July, early August on approval, and we would probably get started with one of the 8plexes this year. You get up to 3 years per application to complete the process, but we would get one up this fall and then get that filled up and then continue to build probably next spring or as weather permits. So we feel there's a demand here in Hawarden, and I think it would be an attractive building here as well. So good use of the property.
There's definitely a need of all kinds of housing here,
Yeah.
that's for sure. It's exciting that you would consider building those units. I would be shocked if you didn't fill them,
Sure, yep.
because I know there's a need for apartments, single-family, a townhouse.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things we like to do is manage them ourselves. Just we don't hire somebody to manage them. I mean, we might hire somebody local just to, hey, somebody locked themselves out of their apartment. Can you go open it? But as far as managing it day to day and you know, screening the tenants and that application process, we would probably do that all ourselves. Just keep it in house.
You folks a number of years ago, as Skelling Construction did this project.
Yes, we did. Yep. That was quite a few years ago, but yeah.
is
We also did the Granite Church over there in
Exactly.
Hawarden
That's
as
right.
well, yeah. We've been in business for a long time. I've been with Skelling since '87, so it's 35 some years. I don't anticipate going anywhere else, so, but yeah, we've been around, so.
Are there any questions for Dave or Carol?
Kind of got mine answered, but I guess I would make a motion to approve it.
There's been a motion by Patty. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. This motion and second is for Resolution 2023-26, propose and dispose of real property and publish notice of public hearing for Avenue E, former Sioux Motel property. Roll call vote, please, for Resolution 2023-26.
Lucky?
Aye.
Olson?
Aye.
Belzakers?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Harvey?
On a 4-to-1 roll call vote, Resolution 2023-26 passes. Dave,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for
Thanks.
your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate your company's interest in Hayward.
You bet. Thank you.
Agenda item number 7. 7A is a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget. At this time, I will open the public hearing. Anyone wish to comment? Were there any comments brought forth to the city?
We did not have any written or verbal comments.
Okay, thank you. During the public hearing, I'd like to express my thanks and everybody's thanks for the staff for the hard work and the budget time. That's always a hard process to get through. So we thank the department heads and Wanda. I'll close the public hearing, which moves us to Resolution 2023-27, adoption of the fiscal year 2024 budget. Is there a motion for that resolution?
So move.
Moved by Rob. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. Roll call vote then, please, for Resolution 2023-27.
Olson?
Aye.
Belbacker?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Harvey? Bucky?
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2023-27 passes. Agenda item number 8. This would be a public hearing on the proposed plans and specifications, proposed form of contract, estimated cost for furnishing the 2 circuit breakers, 2 circuit switchers for furnishing and substation materials, taking bids for such construction. I'll pass comments before we open that public hearing to Travis.
This is 4 pieces of equipment that we need for the substation because of their lead time. And then also the being able to get bids on our own instead of passing that off on the contractor. Bids will be May 3rd, and then we'll bring the recommendation from DGR to the council on May 10th.
I'll open the public hearing in regards to that specifications, form of contract. Any comments from anyone? Did we receive any comments to the city?
We have
That
not.
I'm aware of.
Written or, okay. I'll close the public hearing. Moves us to Resolution 2023-29, which is the agenda item number 9, would be deleting property from the consolidated Hawarden urban renewal area. We'll pass to Wanda for guidance with that, please.
Okay, so this property is actually already expired. I apologize, the map got in here crooked. It is this property right here. This TIF area is already expired. In order for us to clean this up, we need to delete this from our urban renewal plan. So that is the first resolution that you see. We will also be going back and adding in this area, but not quite as much. We're only going to go up to 7th Street. So this area will be our new TIF area that we're going to be asking the council to approve and move forward with that. That encompasses our industrial park. It also encompasses CFE and some of the other development that's happening out in that area. So the infrastructure that we're putting in, we can get some of that payback through the property taxes that we would collect.
So moved.
There's been a motion by Travis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by John. This is a motion and second for Resolution 2023-29, deleting property from the consolidated Hawarden urban renewal area. Roll call vote, please, for that resolution.
Anderson?
Aye.
Bucky?
Aye.
Belbacker?
Aye.
Olson?
Aye.
Harvey?
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2023-29 passes. Agenda item number 10, Ordinance 746, deleting the property from the tax increment financing district for the consolidated Hawarden urban renewal area pursuant to Section 403.19.
So the urban renewal plan is part of our ordinances, so in order to delete that out, even though it is an expired plan, we have to amend the ordinance. I'm also asking for the council to waive the other 2 hearings so that we can keep our process moving on our TIF. There's a series of motions that we'll need to do tonight if the council is in favor of that.
Is there a motion for Ordinance 746?
What's the rationale for the expedited?
Because we're already incurring some expenses in that area. If we don't get them if we don't get the new TIF established, we can't put that in part of what the value is, the new value.
New assessed value
Yeah.
and the new TIF.
And that makes it an emergency.
That's what I'm trying to think of the time frame.
No, it's not an emergency. We're just trying to get it done before we start the process with the weather, putting in infrastructure. We've already started part of that with gas,
CFE.
CFE, yes. So otherwise, we miss out on that valuation.
And we're just going to expedite the deletion of,
The deletion, it's not adding, that will go through the process that it needs to.
I like to go through the three processes, but if you're just deleting and taking it out, I would be okay with waiving the readings. Would make a motion to approve deleting the property ordinance 746 and waiving the second and third readings.
We'll take the deletion of the second, third reading of another motion, if that's
Okay,
okay.
that's fine.
So Patty, would you make the motion for the ordinance 746?
I would make a motion to approve ordinance 746.
Been a motion by Patty, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's a seconded by John. Been a motion and a second for ordinance 746. Ordinance deleting property from the tax increment financing district for the consolidated Hawarden urban renewal area of the city of Hawarden, Iowa pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa. Roll call vote, please, for that ordinance.
Anderson,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Lucky,
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, ordinance 746 passes. I would entertain a motion for the statutory rule requiring an ordinance to be considered and voted on for passage at 2 council meetings prior to the meeting at which it is to be finally passed to be suspended, which means we're going to suspend the second and third readings at this time.
So moved.
And moved by Rob, is there a second?
I'll
Second.
Seconded by Travis. Call for a roll call vote for that motion, please.
Anderson,
Aye.
Harvey,
No.
Belbacker,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Lucky,
Aye.
On a 4-1 roll call vote, that motion passes. And finally, according to Dorsey and Whitney, we need to make a motion that the ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 746, an ordinance deleting property from the tax increment financing district for the consolidated Hawarden urban renewal area, the city of Hawarden, Iowa, pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa, now be upon its final consideration and adoption. Is there a motion for that, please?
So moved.
Moved by Travis, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Rob. Roll call vote, please, for that motion.
Olson,
Aye.
Belbacker,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yeah.
Lucky,
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, that motion passes. Agenda item number 11, Resolution 2023-30, setting the date of the public hearing and designation of the expanded consolidated Hawarden urban renewal area and on urban renewal plan amendment. Anything else need to be said about that?
Nope, unless you have questions.
Just that you're adding back in, let's see, where was I at?
The map should be right above the resolution. So that's what we're adding back in,
That area
This
there.
sets the public
the red
hearing.
area, yep.
Make a motion.
Been a motion by John, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Patty.
Just for the public hearing, right?
Set the
Yeah,
public
just the public
hearing.
hearing, yep.
Roll call vote, please, Resolution 2023-30.
Harvey, Olson,
Aye.
Belbacker,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Lucky.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2023-30 passes. Resolution 2023-31 is agenda item number 12, This is setting, again, a public hearing for the grading work for the 7th Street substation electrical upgrade. I'll have Travis give us an overview before we ask for a motion.
Before we can start on the substation area where it's going to be built, needs to be graded and a drain tile put in. So this will be a public hearing for that. And bids will be May 3rd and recommendation for awarding the contract May 10th.
I thought we were gonna do some of that.
Part of this we're doing, right?
As in, city was gonna, not the grading, the storm sewer in the area.
I'm not smart to be sitting here.
I make a motion to approve setting the public hearing.
There's been a motion by Patty. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by John. This is a motion and a second for Resolution 2023-31. Roll call vote, please.
Harvey?
Yeah.
Olson?
Aye.
Belzecker?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Lucky?
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2023-31 passes. Lastly, agenda item number 13 before adjournment is Resolution 2023-32. Resolution we've been looking forward to for quite a while, declaring a water watch, conservation classification, and water use restrictions that a water watch entails per City of Hawarden Conservation Ordinance. Give us an overview of what this will do for our community, please.
By moving from a warning to a watch, that'll increase our watering to 2 times a week. Houses and businesses fronting the north and east will be permitted to water on Tuesday and Saturday. Houses and businesses fronting the south and west shall be permitted to water Wednesday and Sunday nights. Waterings between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. You can, again, wash your vehicles. With the winter snow and the melt, the river is up. That's bringing our wells up. Each well, obviously, it kind of recharges at its own rate, but we feel that we're in a good position to go to this water watch, and then we'll monitor it throughout the spring and see how much more rains we get and just monitor the levels.
Okay.
Is there a motion for Resolution 2023-32?
So move.
Moved by Rob. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. Roll call vote, please. Resolution 2023-32.
Harvey? Olson?
Yep.
Feldhacker?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Clucky?
Yes.
On a
Hey, Rick?
5-0 roll call vote, yes. Carol has one item to say before we go to adjournment.
We did not do a roll call vote on item number 8. I don't know if it's needed. There was not a motion and a,
No,
Oh, that
it's
was
a public
just a,
hearing.
that
So
was
that
just
just
a
doesn't-
proposed hearing. Yep. Yep, nope, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Motion by Patty, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rob. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next regular meeting, May the 10th.